Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here, the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, and the Let's Talk to Cutler Let's Spend 1,800 Seconds Together. That's what's really going on here. And I realized the day was just moving so quickly, and I thought, no, I have to go out, I have to log in, I have to check in with my friends and see what's going on. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So if somebody is just wondering, what is this guy talking about? What is this platform all about? Let me just tell you, let me just get that out of the way. Let me just get rid of the preliminaries and let you know that this program, this station, this platform is about inspiration. It is about motivation, and it is about challenging ourselves to make sure that we show up the best possible version of ourselves consistently. Make sure that you show up the best possible version of yourself consistently, despite the worst of situations. I think if we can show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, that's over half the battle. We're winning. We are definitely winning. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. We come together these 1,800 seconds. I try to drop a few nuggets, and sometimes I realize when I'm dropping these nuggets, I'm dropping nuggets for myself, things that I need to catch, pick up, and hold on to, so that I could catapult myself into a space of positivity. I can catapult myself into a space that's called better, a space where I'm evolving and I'm responding to the dynamics of life, because life is about being dynamic. Life is about adapting and being flexible for the change. And so I want to invite those of you who are logging in to come on over to the chat, chit chat with me, say hi, make sure that I know that you're in the room, so that way I can acknowledge all the LTTC VIPs this evening and make sure that you're there. And thank you all for allowing me to come into whatever space you've allowed me to come into. I'm so thankful for that. I don't take it for granted. Again, whenever people offer you your time is one of our most valuable commodities, and I certainly don't like to waste anybody's time. I don't want mine wasted, but I don't like to waste anybody's time either. I try to say things that are meaningful, and sometimes when I can't say things that are meaningful, I just hold my peace and I don't say anything at all. So come on over in the chat. I'll shout you all out in just a moment. But if you haven't done so, if you have not subscribe, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And after you subscribe, find the notification bell. Now, I honestly don't know where it is on your particular device. It might be down there somewhere. It might be up there or over there, or even over there. So wherever it is, find that notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live and whenever I've uploaded new content. That way you can look out for it and you can see what I'm doing and what's happening in my life. I was reading a post earlier today, and it says, people who have a high spiritual intelligence don't just read words. Listen to this quote, and this is really going to set the platform for our conversation this evening. I want you all to think about this, because our conversation, our platform is really about checking on your folks. So I just call it Check on Your Folks, and you'll see why and how I got to that. But I was reading something earlier today that says people who have a high spiritual intelligence don't just read words. They read moods, they read energy, they read vibes, body language. Their senses are supreme. They might not say much, but they notice everything. Let me read that again. People who have a high spiritual intelligence don't just read words. They read moods, they read energy, they read vibes, they read body language. Their senses are supreme. They might not say much, but they notice everything. And that caused me to think, how often do we notice people? Do we pay attention to people? This conversation this evening is making sure that we check in on the people in our lives again. As we're getting to the end of the year, we're getting ready to go through the holidays. And remember, people are on different emotional waves during the holidays. People are on different mental waves during the holidays. People are on different spiritual waves during the holidays. People are on different financial waves during the holidays. People are on different physical waves during the holidays. And so I want to make sure that we don't take anything for granted. I want to make sure that we don't take anybody for granted. I want to make sure that we are not taken for granted in our respective places as we are occupying space in people's lives. So I want to make sure that we check on our folks. Because this quote reminded me that we read moods and energy and vibes and body languages. We might not say a lot, but we notice everything. So I want to make sure, I want to charge and challenge us, because a challenge is also what we do. We don't just inspire and motivate here. We don't just inspire and motivate each other, but we also challenge each other. I want to challenge us to make sure that we're checking on the people who are in our lives, particularly this time of year. Make sure that you check on the people in your village, in your community, in your space, in your circle. Make sure that you check on them. Don't let the days go by. Don't let time drift by when you have not checked on the people who are in your life. That is a challenge. Check on the people who are in your life. And I want to talk about that, because as some people are gearing up for the holidays and they are thrilled and they are ecstatic about what's going on, there are other people who are dreading the holidays for the sake of emotional pain. There are people who are dreading the holidays for the potential of the financial impact. The people who are dreading the holidays just for the potential loneliness and the isolation that they may feel. So don't think that everybody is on the same wave that you are. I challenge us to step back and look at the people who are in our lives. You all take a real look at the people who are in your life and vow to check on them. If you can't check on all of them, check on some of them. If you can't check on but a handful, check on somebody. And don't just assume. I know how sometimes people who are strong, they get overlooked so often. Don't assume that everybody is doing okay. Don't assume that everybody in your circle is well. Don't assume that everybody has it together and that they are in a stable place. Just let's not make that assumption. Please, let's not make that assumption. I want us to be intentional about checking on the people in your circle, about checking on the people in your space, about checking in the people in your life. And check this out, about checking on the people in your heart. Check on them. Don't assume that somebody else is checking on them. I remember when I went through something, and lots of people did not check on me because they assumed that somebody else was checking on me. And as it turned out, very few people even checked on me. Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen to people. Don't assume, oh, somebody else is going to check on him or her. You be that somebody else. Let me pause for a moment and invite you all to tell other people to come on and let's talk to Cutler, because we're going to talk about how do we check on folk? What does that mean? The holidays are going by. Oh, I sent them a card. But let's check on people, checking on them to the extent that we can. This is why social media is good and social media is not always so good, because social media has removed that human element of connecting and hearing voices and seeing faces. Of course, unless you're doing what we're doing. Unless you're doing like I'm doing tonight, you're doing a video call or just video, and where you can make sure you see faces and you hear voices. And then even that doesn't even give you the ability to hold their hand if they're going through something, or just to put your hand on their shoulder and let them know that they sense that reassurance and that encouragement that everything is going to be all right. We're going to get through this thing together. Don't just text, don't just email, but call so you can hear, video so you can see faces, stop by so you can do both. If that is possible, then do that. Let me shout out the LTTC VIPs just a moment. I want to thank those of you who are first over in the chat. I see some of you, but the first three people that I see in the chat are Linda Martin, Andy Cullen, and Marissa. Thank you all for being the LTTC VIPs this evening. I certainly appreciate you. But I want to get back to this, y'all. Let's make sure that we check on people. Checking on people means that we are able to read them, as in reading vibes and moods and body language. It means that we're able to read them, because sometimes when they say I'm okay, they're really not okay. Sometimes when they say I'm all right, they are not all right. Sometimes when they say I'm doing fine, sometimes our responses can be so quick and so cliche until we don't even get a chance to process it. Hey, how you doing? I'm okay. How are you? And that I'm okay, how are you happens so quickly until you didn't get a chance to process it. But let's step back. In these next few weeks, let's step back and hear people. Let's step back and check on our people. Because while some people are now preparing for goals for next year, others are struggling, hoping that some of the wishes and dreams that they set for this year will come true. Yeah, I know some of us are already into 2024 and we'll get there, God willing. But there are other people who are bringing up the rear end of 2023 saying, my hopes and dreams still have not manifested. My goals have not been realized. Some things that I set in place, I don't now see them. Let's check on people, you all. Let's make sure that they are all right. And I will tell you this, here's some hints for making sure that when you check on people, make sure that you are prepared to check on them. Because checking on people means that you have to stop, pause, and be in a space, be in a headspace so you can hear, you can process, excuse me, what it is that they have to say. You have to make sure that you are emotionally ready, that you are feeling, you are ready to hear what they have to say. That you have that you've taken the time, you've made the time. So make sure as you're checking on people, make sure that you're prepared to check on them. How horrible would it be for you to check on somebody, and as you're checking on somebody, you realize that you don't have the time to hear what they have to say? That's not good. So make sure you set aside the time, and make sure that you have the time. I'm just saying, if you're going to check on people, when you're going to check on them, make sure that you're going to give them your space, that you're going to give them that time. So make sure that you are prepared to check on people. Let's make sure that we do that, you all. The holidays are coming up. There's some people who still have that they still have emotional pain of the fact that there's some people who are no longer here. And the holidays, while it is ecstatic for many of us, it still causes loneliness, sadness, and depression for those of us who have relatives who are no longer here. And we're still smiling, but we're trying to navigate the holidays. We're singing Old Lang Syne for the new year, but we're saying, listen, what about the old memories that I had that was so wonderful? The people of yesteryear who are no longer a part of my life. Let's check on people who are no longer as mobile as they once used to be. Let's check on them. Not let's just text and send an email, but let's call and hear their voices. So make sure that you're prepared to check on the people. Make sure, and I'm not saying that you have to allow people to commandeer all of your time. You say to them, hey, you know what? I have 10 minutes and I wanted to check on you within this 10 minutes that I have. You fell on my mind. I thought about you. I don't call you all the time. I don't hear from you all the time like I want to hear, but you fell on my mind, and at least I have 10 minutes. I get it. We can't do that for Cutler. I can't do that for everybody, and you don't have to do it for everybody, but I want you to do it for somebody. Check on somebody and make sure they're okay. Checking on people requires that not only are you prepared to spend that time, and you can tell them up front, listen, I got 10 minutes. I need to check and see how you're doing. I know it may not seem like a long time, but I just wanted to see how you're doing. And then you make sure you choose the right time and the right space and the right setting that works for you, that works for them. Maybe you can have a moment where if you're in the middle of a crowd, you can step away from a place that's so noisy. Find some place that's comfortable and quiet where you can just hear each other, talk to each other. So think about a time that might be good. Sometimes calling in the middle of the day when people are at work, that may not be the best time. For others, it might work. For some, it may not be the middle of the week. It might be the weekend. For some, it may not be a Sunday. It might be a Sunday morning. It may be a Sunday evening. So choose the right time and the right space, but commit to checking on people. And sometimes when it comes to checking on people, we are really trying to see, how are you feeling? How are you doing? I know feelings are not always a regular part of a conversation. I know it, and sometimes it can be awkward to even broach that subject and go there, but you want to find out, how are you doing? How have you been? What's going on? Not getting into the business, but the what's going on that says, hey, I'm open to hearing you and seeing you and spending this time with you. How have you been feeling? And again, I get it. We don't always talk about feelings, and sometimes trying to introduce feelings into a conversation can sometimes be awkward. But the more you do it, the better you become at it. And the more sincere you become in saying, hey, listen, I really want to know how you're doing. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know how you're processing life. Sometimes you just got to be specific about what made you concerned about a person. We haven't spoken in a while, and I just want to check in with you. Or there seems to be a space between our connections, and I want to make sure that you're all right. I've noticed that you haven't seen yourself lately. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything you would like to talk about? Be specific about why they fell on your mind. I know how you and your spouse always decorated the house magnificently for this time of year, and I'm just wondering how you're doing because he or she is no longer here. Oh, you know what? I remember this is your grandfather's birthday. Are you all still doing anything to celebrate him? Do you still honor him? I'm sure you guys may have mixed emotions. How are you doing? Something like that. It's the holidays, and I understand that you just lost someone. So I just want to see. I just want to see how you're doing. That's all. Let's just check on people. That's all I'm saying. Check on your folk. Check on your people. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know that you care. And show that you're listening by putting your cell phone down for just a moment. Let me ask you this. Are there people in your life who are worth you putting your cell phone down for just a moment? That should be a rhetorical yes. Are there people in your circle? Are there people in your village? Are there people in your space? Are there people in your life? Are there people in your heart who are worth you putting the phone down for just a moment? So you can let them know that you're listening. Don't sit there with your arms crossed, but be open to hear them. Cause your body language to make you lift up and tilt in and hear what they have to say. Everybody in my life is worth me putting down that phone for just a moment so that I do what? I listen without judgment and I take seriously what they're saying. I don't interrupt them, but I let them take all the time that they need. I sit patiently. Even if there are silent spaces, I sit patiently. And then I ask them, how long have you been feeling like that? I want you to know that I'm here. I see some of y'all beginning to respond to the question, are there people in your life worth putting that phone down for? Because if someone is going through a traumatic situation, if someone is going through a crisis situation, if someone is going through a chaotic situation, aren't they worth putting that phone down for just a moment? It makes me thankful that to somebody, I was worth them putting that phone down for just a moment. So that way, when they talk, you can stay calm. Even if the subject is upsetting, you can stay calm. Let them know that you speak to them out of a place of love, out of a space of care, out of space of concern, and mean it. Got to mean it. Let them know that you asked about them based on your love, your care, your concern, your connectivity. I know we say it at the end of this broadcast, and I mean it from my whole heart. When I say, let's keep doing what we do, let's keep building community and maintaining connectivity, you've got to let people know that you care. Check on your folk. Doesn't matter that they're over the miles. Give them a call. I know we've gotten to the point nowadays when sometimes we see people coming across on the phone and they call us and we say, oh goodness, let me just text that person. I don't really want to talk. But a lot of times there may be people who they're just calling. They may be calling you, not so you can hear their voice, but they might be calling you so they may not be calling you so that you can hear their voice. They might be calling you so that they can hear yours. But what are we doing? Sending them to voicemail. What are we doing? Sending them a text message, can I call you back? And you never do. I challenge us I challenge us within this time that I have to make sure that we are connecting with people and reconnecting with people. And in some cases, there may be people that we need to disconnect. Might ever be. But a part of checking in on people, make sure that you're calm. And from time to time, they just may want you to sit there and listen and hear them. Other times they're sharing with you because they want you to help them process their next steps. They might want you to help them think about one or two things that could help them deal with their situation. I have a whole lot on my plate. That might be the issue. They may need your help for assistance with managing time. They might need your recommendations for managing crises. They might need your expertise on problem solving. Sometimes people need help figuring out the next steps. Sometimes they're overwhelmed by work, by life, by family, by challenges, and they're just overwhelmed and they need someone to help them process what's next. And then may I say this, you all. I remember teaching, and either I was teaching a group of emergent clergy members, and one of the things I suggested to them was that we don't help people through, we don't help them through a spiritual renewal and set them at the door like an abandoned child at the fire department. You don't do that. You don't help people through one challenge, through one hurdle, and you sit them you abandon them at the firehouse, at the police department. You don't do that, but you follow up. So as you're checking in with people, some check-ins will require follow-up. Not all of them. No. Not all of them, but there are some check-ins that will require follow-up. I am so thankful for the people who followed up with me when I needed it. Because had they just checked in the first time and didn't follow up with me, I don't know where I would have been and what I would have done. But I'm thankful that there were people who loved me, people who were concerned enough, people who cared enough about me to say, you know what, you didn't sound like your normal self when I talked to you the last time, so I just need to follow up and make sure that you're doing okay. I know we talked about a next step. I know we talked about a plan, but I just need to follow up and make sure that you're on track. I need to offer you a shoulder, a level, a hand of accountability. And as you're checking in with people, learn how to be patient with them. Don't expect you out of them. I need to say that again, because I think that's why our biggest frustration comes from, when we expect us out of other people, but don't expect you out of them. Well, if that would have been me, I would have done such and such. So, well, I would have done it like that. I would have. It's not you. Don't expect you out of people. Otherwise, you're judging them. But objectively, respect where they are. Respect who they are. Respect how different they are from you. I did not say that you have to agree with their modus operandi, how they carry themselves, how they operate. I didn't say that. But you have to respect objectively that they are not you. One of the reasons that we sometimes don't check in with people, because as soon as we check in, we try to tell them how to be us. Stop trying to tell people how to be you. Cutler, do we do that? Absolutely. Cutler, how do you know? Because I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of having done it, expecting me out of people. But I had to stop and step back and realize and say, Cutler, you are not an ideal. You are not the ideal situation in every circumstance of life. Your way is not the best way all the time, and sometimes it's the wrong way. And so I had to stop expecting me out of other people, because that led to what? Frustration. And I think we need to take that. I should probably stop there and just make a big sign and say, stop expecting you out of other people. We get so frustrated. We get frustrated with our children. We get frustrated with our spouses. We get frustrated with our coworkers. We get frustrated with our friends. We get frustrated with family members. We get frustrated with the dog and the cat because they don't act like us. That's not how I would have done it. Well, listen, you all. I give us the power to learn how to, I offer us the power to learn how to respect people objectively for who they are. You can't talk soberly about a thing unless you're willing to acknowledge it and its presence and its existence. I acknowledge that we are different people. Be patient. Understand, if you're going to check in on people, you all listen, sometimes it's easier said than done, but if you're going to check in on people and you're going to mean it, you have to make sure that you're patient. You have to understand that sometimes it can take quite a while for someone to see something differently, or to see a different way, or to take your advice, to take your counsel. Just today, I was talking to one friend about how another friend did not take my advice, did not take my counsel, and ended up in a much worse situation than how it started. And I thought, okay, Cutler, but you know what? You offered it from a place of love, from a place of care, from a place of concern. You offered it. That does not mean that the individual had to accept it and apply it. Be patient. Sometimes it takes a long time for people to process things, just like it took some of us a long time to process some things. And be thankful that the people who were offering us the guidance and the counsel and the wisdom, that they didn't throw their hands up in defeat and say, you know what, I'm not going to try to tell him or her anything else. And learn how to stay in contact with people, particularly those when you find out that you've been instrumental in guiding them and helping them through something, and that they appreciate it. You're checking in on them. Sometimes you just got to follow up. Sometimes you just got to see it through. Sometimes we have to be committed to see people through a thing. I am so thankful that there are people in my life who were committed to seeing me through. Because there are parts of me that would have started and stopped because I became frustrated. But I'm thankful that there were people who checked in on me, and they were committed to seeing me through to the finish line when I wanted to throw my hands up and surrender and give up. I'm thankful for those people. And I vowed that I would be that for somebody else. That's why I'm so passionate about what I do. That's why for the almost 15 years that I walked in the classroom at Howard University, I was committed to every single student, and I taught and tutored over thousands of students. And I was committed to every single one of them because there were people in my life who did not give up on me, but they were committed, and I was committed to every one of them, every single one of them. My family can tell you that's why sometimes I would get my cell phone out, my personal cell phone out, and my students had it. And this is true. And my students were home over Thanksgiving break, preparing for a major final that was coming up after Thanksgiving break. And my family can tell you there are times when I was sitting at the Thanksgiving table and my phone would ring. They would say, Professor Cutler, do you have a moment? Yes, I'm in the middle trying to eat turkey and dressing, but I'll take a moment. I'm not saying everybody requires that, but I'm saying be committed to seeing people through some things. And when it's all said and done, make sure that you take care of yourself, because you're no good to anybody unless you're good to yourself. You're no good to anybody unless you're good to yourself first. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you are emotionally strong. Make sure that you're solid. Make sure that you're substantive. Make sure that you're settled. Make sure that you're okay. Take time out to love yourself, to make sure that you're okay. It's just like a flight. Before you make sure that you secure the mask firmly on you in the event of emergency, make sure that you secure the mask on you before you try to help somebody else. Take care of yourself. But don't let that negate you checking on other people. This holiday season, I challenge us. I urge us. I do. I challenge us and I urge us to check on the people in our circles, to check on the people in our spaces, to check on the people in our lives and in our heart, because people are going through things. People are going through things. And so check on people. Check on the elderly. McDina, as a matter of fact, I'm going to roll that right in. Thank you so much. She says, off topic, please be aware of the gift card scams going on. So check on the people. Thank you so much. This time of holidays, people are just going through scams and all this kind of stuff, and they're targeting the elderly. Of course, they're targeting everybody, but they're targeting the elderly for so many things. Check on people. Let's just check on people. I want to thank you all so much for allowing me to come into your homes or wherever it is that you've allowed me to come and talk passionately about this subject this evening to make sure that we check on the people in our lives. Let's keep doing what we do. Auntie Carolyn, it's good to see you this evening. I love you. Let's keep let's keep checking on people. Let's check on people. Let's keep doing what we do, you all. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up, stay safe, stay sane. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Always will be. I want to thank you. Until the next time we chat, do me a favor, tell somebody that's come on and let's talk color. Tell them the man is just trying to help save your life. All right. Have a good evening. I'll see you the next time I see you. Good night.